thinking about a book I read once by Hillman, James Hillman, and it was called The Soul's Code, and he talks about this thing called the acorn, which is something you were meant to do or be. And some people miss it, some people get it, some people get it at different times in their lives, but whatever it is, it's the thing that you came into this world meant to do. And he called it the acorn, and I guess that's what I'm talking about, the thing that you were meant to do but didn't recognize it in your journey getting there, but when it hit, you knew it was right. That's what I mean.
Robert Redford just died. He was a true movie star. You love this man very much. He could do all kinds of genres. He could be funny, he could do drama, he could do comedy, he could be romantic, he could do action, thrillers. As a movie star, your greatest asset is to be able to transcend genres. It shows your capability that you can tell stories across all different types of movies. He was handsome and hands-on. What you mean by that? He also created things with his bare hands. You read this book called Down and Dirty Pictures, and it talked about the rise of Robert Redford. Great book, by the way. Author of Easy Riders, Raging Bulls, and it talked about Robert Redford changing independent cinema forever. And Redford used his power to build this festival from the ground up.
I were to offer you $1 million for one night with your wife.
And it became a creative haven for new voices, for groundbreaking films outside of the studio system. And he basically gave the power to all these storytellers to dream differently, that you didn't need the traditional studio system infrastructure to create your movie. Maybe to release it and to work on it, but to create in your own movie, you could do it with a home video, with your own camera.
Sundance, it was you start out, it's usually personal. It's usually something that is basically going to benefit you in some way. You know, that's what charges you out. For me, it was creating or attempting to create a mechanism where new artists, young artists, just new artists, would have a chance to sustain the importance of their independent voices, because the world was going to change. That was inevitable. And when the change came, what was going to be solid for artists to hold on to? A mechanism where they knew they could always come to work. So in a sense, it would also be a community, which was another important thing to me, because I witnessed the loss of community over and over and over again in my life.
Essentially, this platform, this festival, launched the careers of Kevin Smith, Tarantino, the Coen brothers, Steven Soderbergh, Ryan Coogler, and on and on and on. He created his own myth. And on top of him being an amazing and swoony movie star who starred in a bunch of critically acclaimed and commercially box office hits, The Horse Whisperer, Havana, Spy Game, that's your favorite Robert Redford performance, because it takes all of the charms and wiles of a movie star and puts him in an action movie where he's literally not doing the action. His charm is doing the action. And that movie is an example on how to be, if you want to learn how to be a movie star and how to be cool under pressure, you watch that movie. He was also an amazing director. He won an Oscar for his first movie, 2 Oscars for directing and Best Picture, Ordinary People. And to this day, people are really pissed off at that movie because they think, quote unquote, that it robbed Scorsese his Oscar for Raging Bull. Raging Bull is a mighty fine movie, but there's something so heartful and hurtful when you're rejected by your own family for something outside of your control. And that's what Ordinary People was all about. It's about ordinary people. And we may have an extraordinary gift, all of us. Robert Redford had many of them. But at the end of the day, we're ordinary people. He made things look good and very easy. You read a couple other biographies on Redford. Another one mentioned that when he was growing up, he had his mother died when he was 18 years old, and he had a tough time communicating with his father. And knowing this sliver of backstory, you see why Ordinary People resonated so much. And he's not even in the movie. So, yeah, and here's a little nugget for you. When you were in college, you went to college at this place called Hofstra University in New York. And you joined a fraternity called Kappa Sig. You joined this fraternity, and it turns out that one of the members, one of the brothers, one of the illustrious alumni is, you guessed it, Robert Redford. You were gonna drop the F-bomb, but you held back. And he also, he was a star maker. He gave Brad Pitt his first lead role, like true lead role, in A River Runs Through It, a movie that celebrates also the inability, the bond between two brothers and the inability to communicate with the paterfamilias, played by Tom Skerritt. Paterfamilias is a fancy word for saying dad. Yeah, and your personal favorite movie that he directed is is The Legend of Bagger Vance.
Inside each and every one of us is something that's ours and ours alone.
Was there something you wish to discuss? Because this might not be the right time to.
Beautiful story. It's a retelling of the Bhagavad Gita, but instead of war, it's set in the world of golf. Matt Damon, Will Smith, Charlize Theron. It's Jack Lemmon's final performance too. He cameos the flick. Beautiful score by Rachel Portman, and it's about how we're all born with a talent, and life can be so painful and so distracting and traumatic that we lose way of our talent. It becomes very sad, the things that ordinary people have to put up with and deal with. But just because you haven't been using your talent to good use does not mean that you don't still have this talent deep inside. So he meets a magical person, or rather the magical person appears in his life. The protagonist, the eponymous character Bagger Vance, and he teaches him how to find his swing again. Beautiful movie. And how can we talk about Redford without talking about the Sundance Kid, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid? Sun, it's a beautiful word. It's the eye in the sky that lights us all up, that sees us all, that makes plants grow when you give it the right environment, the right soil, and you dance in the sun. Everybody here, we're all under the auspices of the sun. And that's an amazing movie, a revisionist Western, and it solidified his breakthrough as a movie star. And the word breakthrough is a very potent word when it comes to Robert Redford, because the Sundance Film Festival, which he created after his eponymous role, provided a breakthrough, and it still provides a breakthrough for all these storytellers.
You go along with your life, you just put one foot in front of the other, and you have ideas or visions, whatever you want to call them, and they come to you and you try to fulfill them, but you don't necessarily have a big context for it. It evolves. It's an evolutionary thing, so that one thing leads to another until finally you had a way station, a point along the way where two or three things come together and you realize, oh, that's what's happening. But you don't plan it that way to begin with because you don't know enough. You're too young, you're too naive, you haven't had enough experience, you haven't gotten to the point of wisdom yet. So I think that's what I meant. I was so focused, obviously a pretty ambitious guy from the get-go. And when you've got that, you've got something you want to do. It was basically tied to my work as an actor to begin with.
So if you have a story to tell, Robert Redford is like a beacon of light, because he rewrote the rules, he did it his own way, and he created the Sundance Film Festival outside of the Hollywood institution until Hollywood came knocking on its doors, wanting a piece of that action. So, all right, that's all you got for today. Robert Redford, R.I.P. Love you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your movie stardom and everything else that came from that.